Hello there, welcome back to another Two Idiots. See, we're actually back. This is James, you may remember.
Okay.
We're actually back now since the lockdown allows us to actually visit each other a little bit. We're not really social distancing much now anyway. We kind of failed that one. Well, you failed that one by being oblivious to social distancing.
Well, I was sitting away from you, but then out of sheer instinct, I sat in my usual chair.
Yeah. So basically, social distancing out of the way. So the advantage for you is we can do these episodes. The disadvantage for us is that one of us have got the coronavirus. We've both got it now. So we know who you blame. Anyway, we're back doing videos whenever we feel like it. We didn't really do that many during the lockdown because we tried it. We hated doing it over the Zoom thing. It just wasn't working very well. It was kind of stilted. At least for me, it was still doing. Didn't really feel like we were. So we lost enthusiasm quite quick. So I think this show. I mean, I do other shows that I can do via Skype and stuff. It's fine, but I think this show needs a communication really.
Aye.
It's just one of those things. So we're going to start with Bill and Ted, the trilogy, the series, the whole thing. We've seen all three of them, and we're ready to talk about them. So we thought Two Idiots talk about Bill and Ted. It just seems made for us.
Aye.
I mean, the title itself is like, how can you resist?
Exactly.
You know, so Bill and Ted, the trilogy. So obviously we'll start with the first one. The first one was made in the mid-80s and released in 1989. So it was released, it was at the shelf for a year because they made the film, the company went and bust who made it. And they had to have someone else buy it and then release it, and no one had any faith in it, but it actually just came out and was a massive hit.
Aye.
So, were you even born when the first one came out? Or were you
I was two. I was two when it came out.
So basically you were in your mum's room while it was getting made, probably.
Basically.
Yep. So he was literally a Bill and Ted baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was being made. He was in factory made at the time when they were filming this film, probably. So it's as good as you're gonna get for kind of the first Bill and Ted.
Aye.
And I was a teenager when Bill and Ted came out, so I'm slightly older than him, even though I don't look it. Or maybe he looks worse for wear. I'm not sure which one's which.
You're just old and I'm worse for wear.
Right, thank you. I've a lovely bit of grey hair now. So, we both saw the film. When did you see it?
Originally or recently?
Originally.
I think, when did the second one come out?
91.
91, so I would have been 4, so I'd have probably seen it about 92, 93, because it was roughly when the cartoon came out.
Alright, so you were a cartoon baby, really?
No, because when the cartoon came out, I think they put the films on TV and I remember watching them.
Alright. Yeah, well, I saw the first one in video, the first one in VHS. I saw the second one in the cinema. Because at that point, I may have been released in the cinema over here, Bill and Ted, I think it was, but it didn't come anywhere near here.
Aye, that was a big film.
No, and by the time the second came out, I was a student, so I went to see it when I was a student.
Aye.
So it was kind of so both these films came out when Alex Winter and Kenny were both like young actors. They were trying to establish themselves, and this was the first one that established Kenny Reeves. Alex Winter had been in Lost Boys before this, but he wasn't that big, and he moved off and to do his directing stuff after this anyway. But they were, for a while, this was Kenny Reeves' defining role.
Aye.
I mean, he could have been casting characters like this for a couple of years afterwards. He was like trying to shake it off.
Aye. So I'm not too big on the first Bill and Ted. Out of the 3 films, I'd say it's my least favourite.
Blasphemy. Do you want me to slap him for that? Do you want me to,
I like the first one,
I can't slap him.
I like it, but it's my least favourite out of the 3.
Explain.
So it's just bog standard by the numbers. So at least with the second film, they go after that, it's great. It's just a pure wild film, the second one. I always found the second one funnier than the first one.
Yeah. I think the first one has a problem now compared to when it was released, as there's been so many time travel movies. This one was made before Back to the Future 2, this one was made before all those like Doctor Who episodes that went crazy with time travel stuff. This was just after Terminator and Back to the Future, where time travel movies tended to be really simple.
Aye.
You went back in time to do something or to solve one simple problem. The Bill and Ted was kind of the template for what was going to come next, because that was the one that went, oh, you can go nuts with this. You can really go crazy with this. So I remember seeing, I saw it, it was like, they're going so far more than any other films going with time travel.
Aye.
Because every other time travel film was very kind of conservative, as like, Marty McFly has to go back to 1955, he's trapped there, has to solve his parents' problem, that's it, that's the only thing he deals with. Terminator's back to kill Sarah Connor, that's it. That's a simple thing, that's all they're going to do with it. That's the one, is they're going back in time, they're not taking it too seriously, they're stealing historical personages of interest, and they're having Napoleon go mad in the water slide, and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and it was like, they're just throwing stuff out that had never been done. So I think for me, because I saw it at the time, this was like, this is a big shift in time travel movies. No one had treated it so non-serious, but also made it a full-on comedy. The Back to the Future is a comedy, but it's more character-based. This one's much sillier, and it's about weird dialogue and weird characters and not taking history too seriously. You got that. I mean, the only other film that kind of did that a little bit was Time Bandits, the Terry Gilliam one. It did it a little bit, but it wasn't as crazy as Bill and Ted and not taking it very seriously. I think that's the big difference. I think people who grew up with Bill and Ted, you could tell, you knew that was the film that shifted a lot. Stuff. Now you grew up afterwards, it's just another film in the series. It's a fun film, but what's so special about it?
Growing up, I always seen Bill and Ted as a poor man's Wayne's World, even though they're nothing like each other.
And Bill and Ted came first, that was the thing.
But Wayne's World better.
No, it's not. It's not even remotely better. I will slap him if you want. I can't slap him. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm really ready to go now. Now, Wayne's World was, to me, was a poor man's Bill and Ted. Because Bill and Ted came first. And to me, Bill and Ted was always funnier because the dialogue was funnier. But the thing is, both of them are funny. Wayne's World and Bill and Ted are both funny. It's not like, oh, one's obviously better than the other. It's like, they're both funny.
I just prefer one to the other.
Yeah, I prefer Bill and Ted. Yeah, I think one of the fun things with the first one is how unseriously they take time travel, though. I mean, they've got the saviour of humanity plot, it's very Terminator-ish, but they do not even remotely take it seriously.
It's just so they can pass the test, really.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is they pass the history test, and they're doing it in the dumbest way possible. And that's what's funny about it. It's just stupid. And the characters are very endearing, because I think the big thing with those films is people like Bill and Ted.
The one thing I like about these films is the running joke about that lassie Missy.
Yeah.
Constantly going after their family members.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It's a constant running gag, yeah. At least my favourite line in the first movie is when Sigmund Freud has him on has Ted, pointed to Ted and told about how his father has put all his anger issues onto Ted, and Ted's like, oh, and he asked Bill, and Freud asked Bill, do you need any help? And he goes, no, I'm okay apart from a slight Oedipus complex. Oedipus, the guy who slept with his mother.
Alright.
Yeah, you didn't get it. That's what I'm putting up with.
Some jokes go over my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I assumed it was a more bumping joke, but...
Yeah. A more bumping joke. That's
more bumping.
Yeah. So yeah, but Bill and the kid is Socrates, they're always called Socrates, so one of the big gags is how they get the names wrong. All the famous historical figures, they can't even get the names right, they're that dumb.
They keep calling Freud, Fred or something?
Yeah, and there was Sigmund Freud, you've got Abraham Lincoln, same party on dudes. You'll get Joan of Arc going mad for
aerobics.
Yeah. You've Billy Kid and Socrates trying to pick up chicks in the mall.
That was funny.
Yeah. You've got based on Napoleon, anything Napoleon does is hilarious because he's such a maniac.
Eating ice cream, got the Waterloo.
Yeah.
Water park.
Yeah, what would you do if you were lost in San Dimas? Waterloo. And Napoleon trying to eat all the ice cream.
I did eat it all.
I know what a pig.
I didn't understand the piggy jokes, but...
that was just a joke about some of the stupid things you used to have in America at the time.
Alright.
Okay, you're too young. Which is amazing, you look 90.
Aye.
So, but yeah, no, it's a fun movie that's just really silly. It's intentionally silly. It's like the charm is its silliness. I mean, with Bill and Ted in the Wild West, to try to cheat your cards and failing horribly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 3 aces, dude. You know, and they both look completely gromless throughout.
They don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, and I think half the joke is the expression in their faces and their loose-limbed weirdness. They're just very oblivious to a lot of what's going on around them. And I think it's just hilarious. So
I think George Carlin was underused in these films though.
I always thought he was in them more than he actually was.
I always remember them being in it. We watched them last week. I was like, he's barely in these films.
Yeah, because I think he makes such a big presence in them that you assume he's in them more than he is. And the thing is, for him, they're probably a nice little paycheck.
Aye.
And that was it. But
I'm probably confusing it with the cartoon as well, because he's got a big part in the cartoon.
yeah, but no, but I thought he was in it a lot more than he actually was. There's a nice story about the in the Blu-ray extras. They're talking about Kenny Reeves asked him for his autograph. He doesn't do that very often, and George Carlin wrote down, "To Keanu, fuck you, George Carlin." I thought it was quite good.
That sounds like George Carlin.
Yeah, but also the nice story about how they met him just before he died, because they were just out having a meal, and George Carlin walked into the place they were at, so they met up with him just not long before he died. So that's a nice little story.
Aye.
So
Him and Alex Winter.
what?
Was it him and Alex Winter, or was it just Ken and his family?
No, Ken and Max Winter, both of them, Bill and Ted themselves, just meeting up for a meal, and then in walked George Carlin.
Seems like fate.
Yeah. Almost like a goodbye type of thing. But yeah, I've got a massive affection for Bill and Ted, the first one. Because that was the first one I saw, and that was what made me love Bill and Ted, because I just loved the characters. And some of the strange dialogue, like the strange things afoot of the Circle K, and just the weird way they talked. My triumphant and my esteemed colleague and I.
Their vocabulary is a lot better than for what they should be.
That's a joke though, is they've picked up some stuff but they haven't placed it properly. They haven't found the context, but they know some stuff. So it's really funny how they're really articulate, but they're also kind of dumb. And they miss so many things, and they think that Joan of Arc was Noah's wife and things like that, and it's like really weird. And there's another thing I found out from the DVD, the Blu-ray thing, was that they spent so much time Keanu Reeves' hair because they wanted to look just gormless as possible. And he spent most of his time in between takes making sure the hair was right, so it would look as silly and weirdly Ted-ish as possible. So he kind of figured that was half the joke, was his hair. Then you see the film and, yeah, that's half the joke. It's like, well, he was right. He knew what he was doing. But yeah, I mean, I think one of the big charms of the film is they're both enjoyable characters, and they're silly and they're fun, and you kind of like them. They're sweet.
They're not trying to harm him, they're just trying to move along.
Yeah, and they get enjoyment out of their own schemes. Like when they have to start doing the time travel stuff, like remembering to place things in the future, and it's like they're as impressed by that as anyone else is. They're like,
so, there's the keys.
Yeah, and it's very charming. And there's the bit at the end where they do the big stage show thing. It was like, how did they manage to do that? And it was like, well, then they explained the commentary. Oh, they just went back in time afterwards and did it. So they were enlightening people for the show. And it's like all that. Apparently they shot that stuff, but they never used it. So like, no one cares. But yeah, it's a really charming film. And it is just set up for the follow-up. So this was a very low budget film that no one thought was even going to come out. Even they liked the script, even they thought that this film would not come out. Apparently at one point they were waiting to do a scene, they were like, no one's going to see this one film. No one's going to see it. They just enjoyed it. So Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, is an excellent film.
I really enjoy it, but
it's a nice silly comedy. Yeah, it's a nice silly comedy. You can watch it with your entire family, like you can with all the films. None of the films are sweary or anything.
I don't think there's any swearing.
No, it's
a couple of phrases that have aged and wouldn't get away with these days.
The fag things. Yes.
I don't know what to say, but I'll let you say it.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that's the thing. The writers have said, yeah, we would not do that nowadays. I think they were trying to be clever by showing that Bill and Ted weren't quite secure in their own dealing with the fact they loved each other. they came out wrong, but they said they would never have done that now. It was done finding another way to tell you that. So it's an awkward thing, but yeah. So Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure, terrific.
Aye.
Now we go to Bogus Journey, which
is my favourite of the three.
Yeah. Mine's is Excellent Adventure, but I love all of them. This is a film that people either love or hate. Seems to be of the series, I think.
Yeah.
Like, because people who really adore Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I think find the second one a bit too weird. Because they want a time travel movie.
But it's a nice original sequel.
I know.
It's no copy paste like most films.
I know, that's what I like about it was, you see one film and you go out something entirely different. Where there's jokes about death and death's insecure.
Aye.
And where else your heroes die a third of the way in the film, and that's not the end of the film, that's just the beginning to watch them go through heaven and hell. And
just the evil robots, I quite enjoyed them. Say like interacting with Bill and Ted.
Yeah, and they're just nasty. They're always trying to kill cats for some reason. They have a thing about killing cats. You don't know why. They just want to kill a cat. There's something about that makes them think, I want to do this.
I remember when I was a wee boy and they first reveal that they're robots and they rip their skin back and pull the robot heat out. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like, I think Ray, my wee brother, was a wee bit creeped out by it, but I'm not sure.
That probably be better for you.
Aye.
Yeah. Also like the fact that the evil robots enjoy being evil.
Aye.
They enjoy it. They like it. But they've got a kind of almost childish glee about being evil, the way Bill and Ted have about being good.
Aye.
They're almost like Bill and Ted, but turned to evil. They've just been cut off.
Aye.
The switches moved to evil, but they've still got the same enthusiasm. I like the fact when they have to trash the apartment and there's almost nothing they can do because the apartment's like pre-trash. Because Bill and Ted live in a pigsty in the first place. And of course, the big joke about this one is that the Missy thing is, if Missy started out with Bill's dad, by the time the sequel comes around, she's dumped him and now he's a sad sack, and now she's with Ted's dad.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, and Ted's now uncomfortable with the whole thing.
Aye.
And and it's just really sad. You see Bill's dad just sitting in a corner, just eating, almost crying. And now Missy's into spiritualism, which plays a part later on.
Aye.
But the big joke is that they're now trying to get into the battle of the bands, even though they can't play an instrument still. I mean, this is 2 films in, we're almost 2/3 of the way through the story by the end of this, before they learn how to play instruments.
Aye, it's quite funny.
Yeah,
the big joke of the first one is like they get better.
Yeah, they do get better. They're like, they still don't have a clue how to play like, at all.
And I've got the princesses there whenever you mentioned the princesses.
Yeah, the first one, princesses come. The princesses are characters who are never used well.
No.
They're there, and they're charming, they're fun. They always get nice actresses playing them, but they don't have that much to do.
No.
But in this one, I think the most doing this one because they get dumped by the evil Bill and Ted, so they have nice stuff there.
Aye.
And they do get kidnapped by the evil Bill and Teds, who smash through a window or the car crashes into the front of the build. I thought it was hilarious. They're so enthusiastic, it's evil. They actually crash the car and go,
Aye.
And according to the good Bill and Teds, these princes are most chaste.
They are.
Yeah. And they don't seem to mind.
Aye.
They're like, okay, that's the way it goes. So Bill and Ted still remain oblivious and nice.
Aye. Even when they go to hell.
Yeah.
They're like, who's this guy?
Yeah, and we were totally lied to by our album covers. Yeah, so Bill and Ted die early on, and a really funny scene where they were watching Star Trek in one scene, and then the evil robots come back, take them to the same location you saw on the TV, and throw them off that ledge, which is a nice little moment where they... You didn't have to be that way, it was just a nice silly bit of...
Aye. I like it when they go to hell though, because like, as a wee boy, 2 bits of that creeped me out, and that's the bunny rabbit and the old woman.
Yeah. And the thing is, apparently that was supposed to be meant to come back at the end of the film, but they meant to be chased, maybe a car chase with the bunny rabbit and the old woman chasing them as they try to get to the...
Battle of the Bands.
Yeah. But I think they run out of money, so to lose it.
Alright.
Apparently there was a lot of stuff they wanted to do they couldn't do because of budget. Which led to the nickname from the end of the cast, Bill and Ted's Unmitigated Adventure, because they lost so many scenes. But what's there still great because they use what they could, and yeah, that hell sequence is terrific. It's not that funny. It's just creepy.
It's just even the sceneries, like it's all built at weird angles to like.
Yeah, and they both have to. Everything's so low. They're
Kind of ducking just to move.
Yeah.
Especially Keanu.
Yeah, because he's much taller. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is like it's funny that like it's a duo. One person's so much taller than another person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they managed to like those two at the same time.
Aye.
Because there's a joke in the first one where Bill tells Ted he's way too tall for the phone booth.
Aye.
So they're all stuck in the phone booth. Which is one of the funniest jokes of the first one, they're stuck in that phone booth.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not enough room in there. And there's a joke telling Ted you're too tall for this. And did you notice the first one or how we're getting all the bubble gum?
To fix the antenna.
Yeah, that kind of licks. They keep on putting it together, and when he gives it to Ted, he licks it and gives it to Bill.
Noticed that.
I always noticed that because it's like, ugh. It's really funny, but still, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Those are close actors.
Aye.
But what was that? Yeah, the creepy hell. Hell was creepy. Yeah,
it's really well designed.
Yep. They spent a lot of time in that and they made sure it worked really well.
It looks like something out of Tim Burton films back there, like Beetlejuice.
Yep. So, yeah,
Then they meet Death.
So, yeah, they meet Death, and Death is...
the best thing in the film.
Yeah, Death's hilarious. Death's insecure.
Mm-hmm. He wants to beat them out again, so they play Battleship.
Yep. You sunk my battleship.
And they beat him, and you can see in his face, like, I've never lost before.
Yeah.
So it challenges him to all these weird board games.
Yeah, and then it's Cluedo, and I thought it was someone in the back. I thought it was someone in the one room, and he was, no, you're wrong. It was Professor Plum.
I was like, that's what I said.
No, it wasn't. In Twister, and he gives him a Twister.
Oh, you get his big nasty foot coming into the screen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Was that the only games they played, or did they play anything?
No, I think maybe it was somebody else, but those are the three I remember. And he's always like best 2 out of 3, best 3 out of 5.
5 out of 7 and all that.
Yeah, like, he's just so pathetic and so needy, and he needs a pal because he's deaf and he's alone. And he needs a friend, and he's stuck with Bill and Ted, who he has no respect for, but he's still needy about them, and he still becomes part of the band. Yeah, I mean, Bill and Ted are so good natured, they make Death part of the band.
Aye.
And they don't think about it too much, they're like, yep.
Also, like, after that, they go to heaven.
Yeah, the mugs people.
And the first thing they do is mug people.
Yeah.
To get into heaven.
And then they speak to God and say, sorry God, we had to mug these people to get in. We're really sorry. We're really, really sorry. But how do we get out of this situation?
Then as they're leaving, Death's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's like, so... And then the funny thing is, in the third one, he's been demoted after that.
Aye.
He's stuck in hell now. He's lost his entire domain because of Bill and Ted. Yeah, and they basically find a way to come back to life by defeating Death. They get another chance.
Aye.
And at least the thing where they get stuff, worms in their ears have to pull out when they come back to life. And they're conveniently not been eaten up much.
Aye, by vultures or whatever.
Yeah. So they come back to life and have to go and face off against the evil robots.
With their own robots.
Evil robots, they build their own robots that look really clunky, but they works.
That works.
And Station with the big arse crack.
Aye, too much of an arse cracking station.
Yeah. That was your favourite bit of the film, eh?
Obviously.
Yeah. So Bill and Ted are... Bogus Journey's a really fun sequel.
Aye.
And it does have a really infectious ending where they have the Battle of the Band and they just play God Made Rock and Roll for us.
Aye, yes.
Yeah, and it's throughout the world. And they defeat the villain who turns out was Rufus, he's a gym teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So the villain is imposing to start with, but by the time he gets to the end, he's just pure sad bastard who really... wasn't
in the past.
He just like he can't stand Bill and Ted, and that's his big crime.
Right.
He can't stand them. He's just going mad. But yeah, there's a villain, but the villain's just set the plot up, and that's it. He's not really that important. He's just
there.
Hanging out with Bill and Ted as they go to hell and
Aye.
heaven and all these other areas. And I liked a bit when they're in hell and they jump into things as they're moving
Aye.
closer to the devil and they're trying to get the devil's attention, which is the last thing you want to do.
Aye.
But for them, they're so happy-go-lucky.
Aye,
Over
aye.
here!
Right, big man.
Yeah. They're just clueless.
Aye. But in the best way possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing people kind of forget is how good they were as Bill and Ted. They just have a nice infectious attitude.
Aye.
That just works. They're just the bit when they're falling in the second one,
Aye.
and then they stop because they're still falling.
And they're kind of what do they do? And they just start screaming again.
Yeah, it's like well, this is awkward. This is embarrassing.
Aye.
Well, there's not much we can do here, is there?
It's a long fall to hell.
Yep. And it's a really enjoyable film. It's
I recommend that, I really do.
it's the problem with talking about Bill and Ted is you just see how great it is and you just go see it.
You don't want to give away all the jokes.
Just 90% of them.
Aye.
Yeah. So now we have the 30 years later film.
The one that came out last week.
Yes.
Face the Music.
Yes. It's I thought it was wonderful.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Apart from the last third had problems with, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's weird because some people seem to like, from what I've seen in reviews, right, people seem to either really like the first 2/3 and not seeing the last third, or like the second half more than the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the second half more than the first half. So we're going in a different perspective. Aye. I still like the first half. Aye. I just like the second half more.
Aye.
Because the second half is faster and it's paced more frantically. But I quite like that. Aye. But it's one of those things, I think people have different perspectives, but most people who've talked about it still enjoy it no matter what half they like. It's just like they prefer one side to the other. Aye. But it's not like a big thing, it's not like, oh, you're wrong, it's just like, no, I like that bit better than that bit.
Mm-hmm. See, that issue was, I like to watch a Bill and Ted movie, not Bill and Ted and Bill and Ted's daughters. I don't mind that they're in the film, but they should have had a much smaller part. Yeah. They took the focus away too much, I think.
Yeah, but I still liked them as characters. I think there's a reason why they were there though, was because Bill and Ted as characters in this one were a bit depressed. Mm-hmm. And they needed some Bill and Tedness in there to even it out a little bit so it's still a fun movie.
I think it's just so they can set up a spin-off film at some point. That's just the pessimist in me.
Yeah, no, but the writer said that's it, they're doing nothing else. But I thought it was because they were trying to do a thing where it allowed Bill and Ted to go towards the dark areas where they meet their future selves. Mm-hmm. So by the way, there's spoilers, we don't care. You should have seen them by now. We don't care if it spoils.
The future self stuff is the best stuff in the film.
I know, but it is kind of darker. Mm-hmm. So I think they wanted to have something a bit lighter, so them picking up historical figures like Jimi Hendrix and stuff. So I see why they did it, and so there was always a Bill and Ted feel before Bill and Ted cheered up and became Bill and Ted again. I think that was the point of it. Mm-hmm. And also the idea was they thought writing the song was their destiny, and actually was bringing up their daughters and teaching them music was their destiny, so that and they brought everything together so that all these people could actually make the song. Them writing the song was basically them setting everything up so that the song could be written by everybody. I think that worked really well, and I think you needed daughters for that. But I see what you mean, maybe you wanted less of the daughters, more Bill and Ted.
So I had nothing against them, I thought they were really good, it's just that there was a bit too much focus on them.
Yeah, I can accept that. I was fine with much as I had, but
plus at the same time it just felt like they were imitations of Bill and Ted.
But that's what it was meant to be though, that was what it had to be.
I know, but it was too spot on, if that made sense.
I liked that a bit though, because they were obviously two girls who adored their dad so much.
I wouldn't mind if they had the same the same attitude and personality as them, but they had the same physical mannerisms.
Well, only one did. Ted's daughter did.
She had like spread out her arms.
Yeah, but I thought it was funny. It was like she was sore on her dad. Bill's daughter was a bit more, wasn't quite as much. So I think they kind of spread it out a bit more. But I liked the idea though. It was like the idea of these two girls adored their fathers. Like no matter what else was said about their fathers, they adored their fathers. They were going to go to hell to save them. And I quite liked that. It was they were really. It showed how close the family was, and I liked the idea that the wives were annoyed with them, but they were never going to leave them until Bill and Ted set stuff in motion themselves.
Aye.
Like, that was the thing that was causing the problems.
They were trying to fix stuff.
Yeah. And because that's the big joke of the film is Bill and Ted trying to fix something is what causes everything to work eventually, but what causes so much of the problems.
Aye.
But I think it was quite good that this film was, they had aged, and they didn't try to hide they'd aged, and they were slightly different, they weren't quite the same anymore.
And they brought back as many people as they could.
Yeah. But also liked the idea that Ted was a bit tired and a bit exhausted all the thing. And Bill was oblivious still, he was still Bill, but Ted wasn't, and it was like, that was nice, that was different. So when you went to the future ones, Ted was... Bill was the slyer one and Ted was the more angry one. It was like,
I thought that was brilliant. See, like Ted versus Ted. I thought.
Yeah, anytime Ted was against Ted was funny because
it's like they clearly hated each other.
Yeah, because the younger Ted was always trying to be reasonable, but he was the one that always spotted there's something wrong here, and he was trying to be reasonable, but he wanted to punch himself in the face basically.
Aye.
And the older Ted was always unreasonable and always a dick. And Alex Winter was hilarious as Bill because Bill was just playing along. Whatever happened, he was just fun. But
he's like, I had no problem with my future self.
Yeah. And there was also the... I get a problem, but it wasn't less than Ted had. But it was also the idea they could have messing up so badly because they could not figure this song out. I liked that the whole idea of the film was they were meant to make a song and they had no idea how to do it. So in that first sequence, when the wedding... And it was now Deacon marrying Missy, which was a hilarious joke. And they're putting it they're so desperate now to write a song. They have a song with a subtitle that's as long as the song almost. And they've brought up bagpipes and theremins and everything. And they can play it. It's obvious they're good musicians, they can play all that stuff. But they're so desperate now they've gone and they're absolutely insane. They're absolutely the end of their tether. They're trying to think, what can we do to...
Well, that's the problem with telling people that their destinies to do something, they struggle to do it.
Yeah, and I like the joke is 30 years ago you played to this big...
Grand Canyon.
And now you're playing a taco night for 10 people who all want to do tacos. Yeah, I like the idea that they're flash in the pan. They were flash in the pan, that was it. No one cares about them anymore. They've one hit, and that was all.
And there's also another killer robot.
Yeah, a killer robot who's got problems killing people.
Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis, and he keeps on telling... He's basically Death, but even more pathetic. Even Death looks down upon this character. Even Death is like...
They used him a bit too much. His jokes started like waving thin eventually. So the same thing going on.
I liked it because I thought it was funny the more they used it because it was more and more pathetic every time he said that. It was like he was getting to the point even Death was sick of him. Even Death was like... Just go away. Just leave me alone.
I looked it up afterwards. The guy who played him is actually... You watched Gotham, didn't you?
A little.
The guy who played Zaz.
Alright.
Zaz. I was like, I quite like him.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean... I liked the character though. It was quite funny how pathetic he was. And I liked how Death... How they didn't mind seeing the future selves as much as seeing Death.
They just wanted to avoid him.
You just like, no, I don't want to talk to him. I also quite liked that Ted and his dad actually made up at the end of it. They actually found... Because it was obviously someone who was troubling Ted in the film that his dad told him off early on for being such a loser. It was getting to him and they actually paid it off. It was like, yeah, that was a relationship that was strongest for the 3 movies beyond Bill and Ted themselves. So it's quite nice that got a payoff because the actor came back and same actor from the other 2 films. So that paid off, that was nice.
I noticed something about that though, it starts with a paradox. It's that the dad that forgives him is the future dad, so they bring him back to the present, so there's got to be 2 dads.
No, but the time is falling in itself, so by the time it sorts itself back out...
There'll be 1 person.
Yeah, probably. You don't go to Bill and Ted for the... There's always plot holes in these films, you don't care. You just assume it gets sorted. I liked Rufus's daughter as well. She was fun. She started at normal, and then the more of an more neurotic she got, and some problems with her mother, and ends up in the phone with her mother all the time, yelling at her mother. And I thought it was
Even
quite
when
nice.
she's in hell, she's like, I'm dead, Mum.
Yeah, I know. It was like you're meant to be normal. You're meant to be this normal one, and it turns out you're not normal at all. You're just insane. And also liked the death scenes with they finally reunite.
It wasn't in it enough for me. I wish it was in it a bit more.
But I quite like it. I think if you do too much of them, in this one it would become a death movie again.
Aye.
But I liked how Bill and Ted cannot deal with him because they split up the band because he wanted to take the name Wild Stallions.
Aye.
It was like so pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how the daughters actually got him round because they could talk to him about his music.
Aye.
I liked that about the daughters is that they were such musical fans that they didn't have the trauma of all the experiences. They just had we liked that music. And when all the different death tunes been told about, he did this album, he did this album.
Aye.
You know. And this one's called Selfindulgent and it was just so sad.
Aye.
I also like not just the end where basically the idea was just to do the song. It wasn't really the song itself. It was just
the song was a bit weird though.
Yeah, but I think it worked nicely because it was not... no song would live up to the hype of it. So I liked the idea, but it wasn't the song, it was the event that went through time. And people coming together was the thing, not the song itself. I think that was the best solution you could have had for that. I also liked another gags where Jesus was taken from the past and all these famous figures suddenly put in the wrong place in time as time is breaking down because then when this bloody song.
The therapist gets, who is it, George Washington?
On the therapy scene, it was great. How they come in and they come in to therapy.
As a couple.
Couples. Yeah. And it's just like completely clueless. Like,
they're like, we love you.
Yeah. Yeah, and the old folk as well. Old Bill and Ted.
Old Bill and Ted.
Yeah. And tried rock at the end.
They're like, nurse, we need to sit down.
Yeah.
The old makeup was actually quite good.
Yeah, it looked really nice. I liked the idea as not how Ted's strap had the little smiley face from the second one from his jacket. It was like, that's a nice touch. He kept those things that linked things. They did link things subtly. They never brought people back in a really obvious way, but they did with little links here and there through the film, so it did feel like it was something. So I think that worked nicely as well. But I think it's one of those, I'm really hoping to just stop now, do not do any more.
Don't do any more.
That's it. He's got away with it. He's delivered. You've got a trilogy. Happy as a trilogy. But don't do any more. Don't do a Terminator where everyone makes you hate the series more.
Although I'm hoping the success of this brings about a Wayne's World 3.
Have you seen how fat Miles is now?
Doesn't matter. That'll be a part of the joke.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, this is a nice surprise.
I enjoyed it more than I was expecting to. I was expecting to be really annoyed with the film, if I was honest.
Because you thought it would be another one of those sequels that was years later and rubbish.
I still know what Zoolander 2 is for.
That's terrible. It is. It's the movie that this film avoided being. That is exactly the movie that you dread this film could have been.
But I watched Super Troopers 2 a couple of months ago and that gave me hope again.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. But I think this one's better than Super Troopers 2.
I'd say they're about the same in my book.
No, I like that one better. I think this one had more of a story. But Super Troopers was joke after joke. But I like both.
I like them both.
I like this one's better. But it doesn't mean you don't do another one. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is really nice, but finish here. I think they're smart enough to finish it here. I think they want to be this final one, and that's it. Cause I don't think they've got another one in them. I think this is it. This is the goodwill's there. They make the movie.
And if they do it, it's going to be a daughter movie, not Bill and Ted movie.
It's also, there's nowhere else to go with the story. The story's done. They've done what they're supposed to do.
Finally.
Yep. The fourth one would have been just hanging out and wondering what to do next.
I'd watch it.
Yeah. But them beating we didn't really talk much about them meeting their future selves. The ones, the band, the first ones they meet, the ones in the band, and they're...
Try to escape them.
Yeah. Try to run away from them because Ted's really annoyed himself. Ted's really beating himself up.
Literally.
Yeah, they're ready to fight each other. And then I liked how Bill's hair gets less and less throughout the films. And then the second one he's been a wig.
A big long wig at that.
Yeah. I liked how they did the fake English accents in the future one. They were acting as if they were posh. Oh, we holiday in England for half a year now.
In the past.
Yes. And it turns out it's total bullshit.
Aye.
And they say they've written a song, they've stolen a song from someone else.
Dave Grohl.
Yeah, and it's like...
That was a nice wee surprise cameo. I wasn't expecting that.
I thought it was quite funny how the father got killed in that sequence, just gratuitously because they missed Bill and Ted. They hit the dad, and it's like, and that starts a robot from going mad.
He's like, oh dear.
Yeah, I made a mistake. Oops. I liked how desperate the future people got that. Just thought maybe kill Bill and Ted instead, because they're obviously not going to be able to make the song. If we kill them, does that work too? They're that desperate. I saw some people complain about that plot, and it's like, no, they're desperate. They're insane. They're just like, this isn't working. We have to do something.
Aye. They don't have Rufus anymore.
Yeah, they don't have anyone to actually be sane with them, so they panic. And they make a decision as dumb as anything Bill and Ted would make, if not dumber.
Or the day based on society on Bill and Ted.
Yeah, so it's like...
They're not smart to begin with.
Yeah. Or they're nice, but they're not good with...
Logic.
Tactical thinking. I think they're good at sciencey stuff, but not war. So they just panic and go, oh, just kill them.
Aye.
Yeah. So, anything else to say about Bill and Ted, do you think?
No, just watch the 3 films. They're really good fun.
Yep. And much better than Wayne's World.
Aye.
Yeah, well, hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back soon with another one. Bye for now.
Have a good one.